I'm Heath Drusen, the host and creator of Howl, a podcast about 30 years of wolf reintroduction in the Rockies. Join me and the Idaho Capital Sun's Clark Corbin for a panel discussion with the people who put wolves back in the West. Clark and I will also talk about our 1,000-mile journey through wolf country, tracking the history of reintroduction. The event is June 17th at 6 p.m. at the Boise State University Special Events Center. It's free and open to the public.
It's the Connector, Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio. Good morning, I'm Troy Oppie. It is Thursday, June 12th. Starting next year, SNAP benefit recipients in Idaho will no longer be able to use those benefits on candy or soda. Lori Vallow awaits a second verdict, this time in the state of Arizona. A West Ada High School basketball player says she was discriminated against by her coaches. Her family wants $1 million. And celebrating a new community center for the upcoming Juneteenth holiday. Those stories and more right now on The Connector. The Trump administration yesterday approved Idaho's waiver request allowing the Gem State to implement restrictions on using SNAP food benefits to purchase candy and soda. The waiver, which the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food and Nutrition Services Office calls a novel design, is effective for 2 years, starting January 1st next year. The state's more than 130,000 SNAP recipients will not be able to use the federal food benefits for sweetened non-alcoholic beverages, excluding those that are 50% or more fruit juice, nor will they be able to use benefits to qualify to purchase candy, a broad definition that critics of the legislation passed by Idaho lawmakers said would unfairly exclude items like granola bars and power bars. The State Department of Health and Welfare says it will begin meeting with retailers on the issue in the next 30 days. The Food and Nutrition Services Office says it will track implementation and results of the restrictions and evaluate it quarterly. Landowners, loggers, tribes, and developers have a chance to speak up about the processes associated with the Endangered Species Act. The Mountain West News Bureau's Hannah Merzbach reports that the federal government is considering changing how it issues permits.
Say you're building a development in grizzly bear habitat or setting up a wind farm around long-eared bats. This would require getting a permit from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, which can take months, even years.
The inefficiencies in the permitting program are a real big drain on what the agency can do.
Jonathan Wood is with the Property and Environmental Research Center, a free market nonprofit. He says there's just not enough federal workers to meet the demand for permits, which must be issued for every activity that impacts a protected species or its habitat. Wood says one solution would be to give out nationwide permits.
So that if you're building a house or, putting in an electrical transmission line, your permit has already been issued.
Other environmentalists say the permitting process should be rigorous because it protects wildlife. Stakeholders have until July 9th to propose other solutions. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Hannah Merzbach.
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is moving forward with an evaluation of whether the Yellowstone population of plains bison deserves special protections as a distinct population. The service in 2022 agreed with multiple petitions that requested protections for the animal. The service says the next step in the process is a peer review of its findings. That's planned for this fall. A final decision from the Fish and Wildlife Service is expected by fall 2026. Meanwhile, bison in Yellowstone are a tourist attraction, but many tourists get too close. A 30-year-old New Jersey man was gored this week and transported by medical personnel with minor injuries. That's according to a park press release. Rangers say the man was among a large group that approached the animal. The incident is under investigation. It's the second goring so far this year in the park. There were 2 all of last year and 1 in 2023. A West Ada School District family has taken legal action against the district, alleging their daughter, who is of Hispanic descent, was discriminated against on her high school basketball team. Idaho Ed News reports the family filed a $1 million tort claim in April. It names 4 members of the school's basketball coaching staff as potential defendants. Ed News obtained the claim through a records request, but did not name the school or coaches identified in order to protect the privacy of the student making the claim. The claim contends the students' playing time was unfairly cut, they were retaliated against and excluded from college recruiting opportunities, and that coaches made racially inappropriate remarks and sexually inappropriate conduct. A tort claim is not a lawsuit, but is required to be filed initially when making claims against a public entity. Lori Vallow is now awaiting a second verdict in the state of Arizona. The East Idaho woman convicted of murder here in Idaho and the deaths of 2 of her children and conspiracy to murder her now husband's previous wife was also found guilty in Arizona this year of conspiring to kill her previous husband. Now the question of her involvement in a 2019 attempt on the life of her niece's estranged husband has gone to a jury. Vallow, who represented herself at each trial, didn't testify, call witnesses, refute prosecutors' evidence, or present any of her own. Her closing arguments included conspiracy theories, which were blocked by objection. She'll be sentenced for both crimes simultaneously if the jury finds her guilty. Vallow has filed an appeal to her conviction and life sentence handed down in Idaho. Federal forecasters are predicting unseasonably high temperatures this summer. Local wildland firefighters are preparing for a hotter, drier, and potentially longer fire season. Here's Julie Luqueta with more.
Last year, about 9 million acres of land burned across the U.S. Speaking at the City Council meeting on Tuesday, Boise wildfire captain Garrett Kirpak said 1.2 million acres burned in the Great Basin area between Idaho, Utah, Nevada, and western Wyoming.
Half of that was here locally in southern Idaho. So between the Payette, the Boise, and the Boise BLM, we burned about 600,000 acres. So it felt like the whole area was on fire most of the summer, and that's because it, for the most part, was.
Kirpak says his team is expecting more of the same in the coming months. He says because the Treasure Valley didn't get a lot of snow this winter, there is a lot of fuel.
The snowpack is really what kind of compresses that old grass and sets us up to have less grass for next year. Because we didn't get much snow down here in the valley, most of last year's grass is still standing up tall, and now we've grown a bunch of new grass from that wet winter.
Kirpak added population growth is also a factor.
We're getting bigger and busier here around the city, so we tend to get more human starts than we used to. But then we also have a decent chance for lightning this year.
The Boise Fire Department currently has 7 brush rigs located on the outer ring of the city and is expecting an 8th one in November. Julie Luqueta, Boise State Public Radio News.
Juneteenth is a week away. It celebrates the end of slavery in the United States. Here in Idaho, a new community center opens this weekend to commemorate the holiday. Henry D'Souza has more.
Juneteenth became a federal holiday in 2021 and marks the emancipation of the last slaves in Texas on June 19, 1865. A new community center is now opening in Boise on Ustick Road. Claire Marie Owens is one of the community organizers for the space. She hopes it will become a third space for all Idahoans.
We don't do political work, but we are politicized by our nature. The truth is we're just trying to make a space for anybody in the community to use.
She says it will be open for things like doing homework or holding yoga class. There's a food truck outside, and Tropico FM, a radio station serving the Latin American and BIPOC community, records programs there.
Third spaces are such an important place for us as human beings. So having a community center like this, I think that really facilitates what's needed in this community.
When asked about whether the recent political climate for Black Americans has changed in recent years, Owens responded,
The national political climate is very extreme for a lot of people. It's not anything different than most Idahoans have been experiencing, or most Idahoans of color have been experiencing all of our lives.
The space opens this Saturday, June 14th. Henry D'Souza, Boise State Public Radio News.
At the NCAA Track and Field National Championship Finals, Kimberly, Idaho native Peyton Bear leads the decathlon after 5 events. The Mississippi State athlete won both the 100 and 400-meter dash events yesterday. Boise State's Landon Helms from Emmett is in 16th place as Day 2 in the decathlon begins today. Bora High grad Nathan Green advanced to the finals of the men's 1500. That will come up Friday. And Boise State's Kaya Robinson and Hannah Ackerman compete today in the semifinals of the women's 1,500-meter dash and 3,000-meter steeplechase, respectively. The NCAA Track and Field National Championships are this week in Eugene, Oregon. And thanks for listening to The Connector this morning. I'll catch you again tomorrow. George Prentice is back next week. Sasha Woodruff is our news director. Tom Michael is our general manager. Lacey Daly is our digital strategy manager. The Connector is a production of Boise State Public Radio News.